to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, I have none other than the crew over from rarethief.com. That's right, Marquis and Amir, or Falcon, are joining me this week as we dive into Sea of Thieves for some past history, because I wanted to catch up and find out what they know as far as the Heart of Fire, but also I wanted to make sure that I got a chance to talk with them about the upcoming content with Arena, with Resurrection, all kinds of good stuff this episode. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Amir, I feel like it's been forever since I learned your name, and it's it's so crazy to think. I was like, I've known of you since before I think I've ever even contacted you in any way or form, just purely based on like me going back through all of the rare stuff and like digging out, and we're like, all right, who are the people that got ahead of the game and knew about this before I did? And just try and go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just laughing. That's funny.
So it's like I contacted so many of you guys from the OG crew, and have been reaching out to as many as possible. But Kat recommended that I get in contact with you because she was like, if you haven't, you should really reach out to Amir because they've been doing some really good stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is true. That's a really good point. I'm gonna do that. So, but yeah, because I wanted to bring you guys onto the show. Well, for a lot of reasons, and I probably have started saying that a lot lately now that I think about it. But the main reason is because I don't know about you, but if it wasn't for you guys, I know a lot of pirates would have a lot harder of a time playing Sea of Thieves than probably they should. And a lot of it comes down to the work that you two have been put in. So before I get into Rare Thief, I wanted to kind of get to know you two a little bit better. Now, you two are a married couple, Marquis and Amir. You guys have been, or should I go by Marquis? Is that fine? I don't know.
Yeah, Mark is fine.
Okay. So you guys have been working on Rare Thief together, I just found out. And that's been something that you guys have done for a long time. I've always known your name, but I didn't know like who you were. So how did this get started?
Us working together on Rare Thief.
Mm-hmm.
So I when the beta was coming out, I started creating the interactive map, just from scratch, and it was pretty bare bones because I am not a graphic artist at all. So I was just coding it using just, I think, grid lines and like shadows of the islands and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I released that for the beta and people were really loving it. So it was blowing up and people were like, oh, you should make this an app. You should expand on this, keep going with it. And I was like, Marky, because she had been working on graphics, getting familiar with like the Adobe Creative Cloud stuff, like Illustrator and Photoshop and stuff. So it's like, do you think you could like make me like a good looking map and put islands and stuff on it for this interactive map? And she's like, yeah, sure. And then she did, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, I think we need you full time on this with me. So.
And I was hooked on Sea of Thieves, so that was easy.
That's awesome. So you guys really are like the perfect pairing as far as like who's good at what and how you guys fill each other's little puzzle pieces, little jiggies and stuff. That's awesome. So
yeah.
Have you guys been playing games together for a long time? Like how did you two like get together? Was that it just out of happenstance or just kind of a random thing? You both realized you liked games. Like how does that come about?
No, it had nothing to do with games. The Sea of Thieves was her first video game.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I was not allowed to have video games growing up in the house.
What?
So, yeah. So I did not play any video games. And then Amir and I met. We actually went to the same preschool and elementary school, but we officially met in middle school and started dating in high school. And even when we started dating and such, I never, played video games. And then I was always just super busy. I mean, He played a lot of games when I was in law school because I was busy from sunup to sundown. And then, but really, Sea of Thieves, when I saw him playing the alpha, I like walked into the living room and saw it, and it's that moment of great water. And all of a sudden I was like, ooh, this isn't a desert scene of people just shooting each other up. What is this? And I was so excited to play it. Just so excited. Yeah. So.
I love the characterization of desert scene shooting things up, because I think like 15 titles popped into my head as soon as you said that. And I was just oh yeah. That's pretty common. Dang it. We should do better.
Yeah, well, luckily now it seems like everyone is doing better. But yeah, at the time, that seeing such, I don't know, well, even now, seeing such gorgeous, sparkling water and the Aurora Borealis and everything, I don't know. The second I walked into the room and saw that on the screen, I was super excited to play.
Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to just buckle down and buy an Xbox and stick it out front, because I was playing. I just started The Last of Us, the first one. Well, I guess nice. It has to be the first one because the second one's not out yet. That's a really weird comment to make. But I started playing The Last of Us for the first time out in the living room, and my wife was working on homework at the time, and she was making commentary about how a little too close to home it was, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty close to home right now, isn't it? And I hadn't thought about that, but I was like, I haven't found like a good game to really introduce her to, because she used to play like Mario and Dr. Mario and Sonic and stuff, but there's a large gap in that knowledge base of what a joystick is and why there's two of them now. And I'm like working to try and build years of missed knowledge in a way that kind of helps facilitate like the opportunity for her to get into games like Sea of Thieves and stuff and enjoy some of the stories and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, mine was total immersion. We basically no-lifed Sea of Thieves for the first. I mean, we got Pirate Legend within the first 2 months of the launch, and it was just, we just no-lifed that. And then he introduced me to a bunch of other games to kind of give me a bit more of a well-rounded vocabulary.
Yeah, I could see that.
Kind of, but yeah, did it by immersion because it was kind of sink or swim, especially if I was going to, enter this world. Then
start writing about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes the fact that the website helped kind of give you a purpose for wanting to jump in, I think may have been a good factor there, because that's my wife has to live with ADHD and anxiety. So for her, stressful situations are enough of a trigger to kick her out of the desire to stick with it. So trying to navigate that has been interesting as we've kind of been living together with each other for years. And I've just started to slowly, like, she tried Night in the Woods, and I'm working with the Lego Harry Potter games.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Because we both love Harry Potter, and it's a great game to be able to jump into. So I figured that's kind of where I think I'm gonna draw us into. But yeah, I think that's awesome that you kind of learn. I mean, it's nice to know that for someone who hasn't been playing games, you can literally jump in, get it, work on it, and actually prosper really, really well in something that a lot of people tend to think is kind of a weird game to kind of wrap their heads around. So I don't know. Maybe.
Well, the other thing is that they always say that the best way to learn is to teach. So I think the fact that I knew I was going to have to explain certain game mechanics,
that's very true,
made me much more invested in learning exactly how those came to be and how those fit into the broader game and how those fit into the gaming world. Why would that be exciting in this game? Or is there something that I find that I'm like, oh, this is magnificent? And Amir's like, oh, this is kind of a feature of most games, or something. So yeah, that aspect of it, I think, made it just a much quicker learning process. And then
That's
also
really
the
cool.
fact that it's not super fast paced if you don't want it to be. And especially when the game first launched. we didn't have as
Yep.
many AI threats or
There was a fort every 3 hours.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I got to enter it a bit more slowly and, you know, got to practice running in a circle on the outpost for a good long time before we set sail. Things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because you're absolutely right. When the game first came out, it was very calm seas. You really didn't have a whole lot to worry about because there were only 6 ships that would go after you, and everything else was on the island. So you had pretty safe territory for the most part. You could jump on any island and kind of deal with skeletons, but it wasn't the end of the world, you know. And now it feels like Maiden Voyage has tried to facilitate that same purpose, and has done a stellar job with it too. I just told my buddy Hassas last night. He and I were playing some Halo together, and he wanted to get his wife into Sea of Thieves because he wanted her to try it out. And I was like, well, if you don't know, get her into Maiden Voyage, because that's going to be the one place where she can run around and do whatever she wants. She can get comfortable with all the equipment, all the weapons, jump, you know, look for different clues and things like this, and just play without having to worry about anything really that dangerous. So I think that it's surprising how, because the game has gotten so much content that everyone was craving for at launch, that now they've had to go and specifically build like a little pocket version of Sea of Thieves that doesn't have content. It's just one little island.
Yeah.
But to kind of push into the thing that we've been kind of alluding to is Rare Thief. There's a ton of new pirates on the seas who are probably really, really overwhelmed with all the stuff that's going on in updates that are, if you aren't reading the patch notes or following YouTube videos, hopefully podcasts or websites, then you're really kind of left just with like loading screens and a couple things of dialogue in the beginning. And it's really kind of hard to get people to understand what to do, where to go, what's new, what's changed, things like that. And the thing that I think is great right now is that you guys have been doing Rare Thief since forever, basically, since the game even was kind of created. And I know when we had to do Pirate Legend the hard way, and you had to memorize where the different animals were on different islands.
Yeah.
Then you know, you knew you had to learn. If you didn't, then you did what I did at times, which was pull up my phone, look up Rare Thief's app, download it, check Rare Thief, and be like, okay, Snake Island's pigs and chickens. That's right? That's no. But so you guys have been doing Rare Thief for a long time, and how hard is it to kind of keep up with the constant flow of content now?
It is overwhelming. Like we love it and like live off of, you know, each monthly update because we're excited about what's coming out. So writing about it is super exciting. But yeah, it is, the cadence has been a lot. And, you know, there's so much each time, like even some smaller features, like you said, need to be, or not need to be, but it's nice to have an explanation or them to be delved into a bit for those newer players or people who aren't, you know, researching on their own to help explain what's going on with the new stuff.
Well, and there's a lot of things that we do that don't involve the most recent updates. So things like, I was going back through some old community emails for something, and I was remembering when we were talking to someone about our app optimization and everything, and just trying to get it so that, because with all the markers, no other map does that. So even like Google, with all its power, you know, they paginate results, so they only have a few markers on a map at a time, you know.
Yeah.
And so the weight of that, and having like, so figuring out how to optimize that, or there's a lot of features that we've created for the app that we've never rolled out because they're just like 90% done, or some are 50% done, or things that, because the pace of the content updates is just so quick that trying to do those on the side, you know, obviously the content comes first because that's what people are really going to want and really going to need that morning of. It's funny looking at the Google search term results in like the very first minutes after an update comes out, people are already searching and we're like, but it's not there yet. Sorry, we're getting there. Like we have to double check everything before we hit publish. Wait. Like so yeah, so that always comes first, but there's a bunch of stuff we're doing in the background too that just
always adding more riddle markers. Like people still find new ones we don't have. We have like, I don't know, like over 900 or something like that.
Oh, more than that.
Oh, just the riddle ones? Yeah, probably, of like landmarks and rock paintings. And still today we'll get an email of someone reaching out saying, hey, I got this one here. Here's a picture of it here where like this is where it was. So we're always adding more riddle markers too, which is just crazy.
That's insane to think that 2 years later, after the game's just actually been alive and launched, that there's still stuff that isn't being popped up. So if that's because one thing that I've absolutely lived for with your guys' website has been the tall tale guides. And for a very long time, there was like I went through and did them all and kind of worked them out on my own without really trying to cheat myself of the satisfaction of being able to do it. But man, when you go like 6 months without doing one tall tale, a lot of that knowledge is just like whoop. So I had to rely on your guys' website a lot recently because I just got my gold curse.
Congratulations!
Nice.
That's
Thank
so
you.
exciting.
It was so lackluster because I was alone. I was streaming. I turned in the final thing, and I was like, I got it right. Where's the pop-up? It's there's not a pop-up. What do I gotta do? And no, it was a little late, but I got it. And the main reason why I got it was because of your guys' website, because I was working on Stars of a Thief. And
that's one of my favorites.
It's a good one, but man, is it hard to work out some of the different parts of the different random ones that you have to work out to get the star gems. Like
the routes you have to take, island jumping and
let me tell you, I didn't know until 2 nights ago that there was a Kraken body next to Reaper's hideout. Never knew about that.
I know, right? All the way down in that ravine.
Yeah, had no clue. Had no idea. It was like, go to Reaper's hideout. And I was like, the game says it's an unmarked island, but Rare Thief says it's Reaper's hideout. Is this accurate? So I went over to Reaper's hideout and I was like, oh man, well, this is a bug because it says unmarked island and Reaper's hideout is no longer an unmarked island. Yeah. So that needs to get edited. So had I not had Rare Thief to help guide me through this, I would have been running around to the 2 different, because I knew it wasn't where the crab shrine is. So I was like, okay, well, it's not there. The only other unmarked island we have is just north of Reaper's hideout, but there's no ravines over there. It's coral and there's the cave system, but that's a skeleton throne. That's not. So I was like racking my brain trying to figure this out. So thank you for helping me get the gold curse, even if you guys didn't even know it. It made a big difference in my life. And the thing that I wanted to bring up was with the Heart of Fire. This is the latest one that we've had. This is probably the coolest one that I've seen Rare put out. It really kind of gets a little bit of everything. But what did you guys think of the Heart of Fire as far as a tall tale goes?
It's one of my favorites. I don't know about Marky, but yeah. It's so like, it's crazy because you're playing through it and there is no cutscenes, but somehow it's so cinematic and you do really feel like you're Indiana Jones or some kind of action adventure star, diving into these caverns and
his voice.
Yeah.
Flameheart's voice coming over, I think, is what really makes it for me. And when you light that, beacon up at the top and you hear his laugh as you're like going down, like things like that are just. The first time we did it and we heard the laugh, I was like, what was that? Because like, I don't know, there's other noises going on. I think Tux, that's our dog, was like barking and stuff. And we were like, I don't know, chickens? And I was like, there are no chickens on this island. What are you talking about? I was like, it wasn't chickens. Like, yeah, it was like this eerie moment where both of us are like, it was like we were in the game kind of spooked. Like, what was that? Like, I don't know. So things like that, I think, really make that experience.
Yeah. What do you really like about it?
I love the fact that it feels so treacherous as you're going through it. Like you're hopping through lava pits, you're jumping over chasms, you're avoiding big swinging anchor pendulums, but you've also got these really, like, Rare has really harnessed the idea of the trap making mechanisms. So for example, I think it's the left path, the blue path, that when you go down there, there's a chain that or a winch that you kind of have to, not a winch, what is it? A pulley. There's a pulley you got to pull in. As you're pulling it, it moves the rocks.
Yeah.
And then, but the rocks sink, and you're just like, oh, I gotta be quick. This isn't
time platforming.
Yeah. And I was like, this is new. I'm not used to timed platforming. Everything in the game is so static because it's like a ship on a body of water and you're on top of the ship and everything's moving and it has to calculate stuff. And I'm like, no, this is static, but it's timed. And I'm like, that's new. This is different. And I like that. So things like that just really, really got me. But I would have to say that the introduction of the fire bombs with the skull beacons that you have to light are so
the door
cool.
triggers.
Yeah. Such a cool concept. But yeah, the whole thing. I love the idea of there having 3 paths. You could send one pirate from a brig down each path and see who wins at the end. You know, it's a little bit of you can have a little competition on who makes it through their path, and you can choose the path if you want, and whoever makes it to the end first gets bragging rights. You know, there needs to be. I even think there's a bell at the end of it. I can't remember, but I want to say there's a bell at the end that you get to ring. But that's one of the things I liked about Shores of Gold was the bell system. It was like the little the little I got here. Did you bell that you can ring is one of my favorites. So.
Well, the other thing I like about the paths is that there's so many ways you can do those each room. So, in fact, that was one thing with writing guides. We always have to preface with, this is one way to get through this room, because we can't possibly write down all of the ways. We're quite thorough and long-winded as it is, so we try to, as much as it's probably hard to believe, we do try to pare down and be succinct. But so we give one way, but there's so many ways you can do those paths, and including, you can just let yourself light on fire and just put yourself out the next time you see a pond, or take really good food with you, or you can, we've seen so many people already in streams and such find just fun, creative ways to get over different walls.
Yeah, one of my favorites is, do you know the cages?
Yeah.
That you have to raise them to light the torch up top, one of the skulls up top.
Yes.
I think it was Steve from Rare Gamer figured out that you can just hop over, you can hop onto the second cage and then jump over the wooden barrier. So you don't have to pull any of the levers. You can just hop it over and you're done with that little section. So it's just fun
funny
to see all the different methods of getting through it too.
Yeah, and I think they did that on purpose. Well, and even those rooms with, the skull reliefs that you throw the fire bombs into, you don't have to do that. And some of those are a little more treacherous than others. So you might not want to if you don't think you can, trust your fellow crewmate to get out of the way of those traps before you set it off. Or, there's a lot of option there too. So I don't know. I think they did such a beautiful job with that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The first time I tried out the little fire traps with the skull, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm not going to use it. I'm just gonna kill these guys the way I normally would,
good old-fashioned way."
Yeah. But yeah, it's such a great way that Rare is kind of developed some of these tall tales. It's something that in a game where it feels like you should be out on your ship chasing other ships for treasure, these are the moments that you really get to kind of live in the world and really kind of experience it, have like a tailored experience, which I think is something that I think a lot of people were hoping for when the game came out. They were hoping for something where they were going to have a really cool, tailored pirate themed story that they were going to play through for 40 hours and then boom, you can go and do whatever you want afterwards. And it took a year, but we got to that point, and I love that we're continuing to get more and more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. The lore is definitely one of my favorite aspects about Sea of Thieves. So the more that gets introduced, the more hooked I am.
Yeah.
So speaking of lore, what do you guys think of some of the stuff that's been going on with Heart of Fire?
Well, I don't know. I'm excited to kind of see how this unfolds. I know there's a fun roiling debate about whether this is Flameheart Senior or Junior, and so I think that's going to be fun to watch play out. I think there's, I don't know.
Are you willing to pick a side yet?
Not really. I really see a lot of arguments for both, and I haven't been convinced that there's any dispositive proof one way or the other. I think one thing that, obviously made me feel initially like it might be Junior is that we don't know the end of Junior's story.
True.
At the end of the book that we have, it's unwritten. I mean, he has his evolution, and then you don't know what becomes of him, or does he become the successor to Captain, or does he, what does he do with that? But at the same time, Senior's story is equally opaque. So I don't know. I feel like one thing that's kind of fun is that because we're being fed these little drips and tidbits of lore from Rare, as much as I just want all of it all at once, I feel like it's kind of fun because there's still so much room to dream and speculate and wonder. And I think that's something that they wanted for this world, or I think they wanted, based on conversations I've had, that they really wanted to imbue this world with that sense of wonder. And I think you keep that alive when there are so many questions and so many mysteries. So so I'm just really excited to watch it all play out.
Fair point.
It's been fun too, like watching everyone decipher all the symbols. I know that you had a big part in figuring out some of the important ones. So yeah, I love that too, that there's all that mystery behind what does this all say, because like there has to point us in some kind of direction as to where they're going with the story.
Well, I really love that it's all canon. That everything is canon. Yeah. So we can turn to these books outside of it, like Athena's Fortune and the Tales, and that's all valid, and it's all going to weave together.
Yeah, the comic books, everything.
Yeah,
I really do love the fact that that everything that they put into the game is just so well thought out, even to the point where they're like, "Hey, did you want to play an RPG game? Because that's canon if you want."
Yeah, exactly.
It's there. So, have you guys picked that up? Have you guys read into that at all?
We have
it, yeah, but we just haven't sat down and played it yet.
Yeah, we need to schedule a time to
really get into that.
Really sink into that.
Have you tried it out yet?
I have read through some of it. Yes. I haven't actually played it though. So no, I haven't quite gotten that yet. But hey, there's there's a lot of folks hanging around nowadays. Maybe do something online and try and get some folks together to play online. I know I recently saw, who was it? Freddie Prinze Jr. was going to be doing something, if he hasn't already, over at Gamertag.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, which is really cool.
It's crazy. He wants to do RPG Sea of Thieves. And I saw him playing yesterday too, which was even weirder. I was like, oh, hey, Freddie's back on. So, but, so Marky, you're on the fence. You're waiting. You're holding out. Amir, how about you? Is it Flameheart Senior or Junior?
I'm also undecided, but I'm leaning towards Senior. Yeah.
Okay.
I think because, why do I think that? I don't know. It's the burning blade that's down there, right? In the Heart of Fire.
So burning blade.
That, and then also, I mean, it's tricky because, like we were just saying, is how that Junior's story is not finished, but he seems like a decent enough person, and this and Flameheart Senior is pretty ruthless, and what we got so far, that big floating head is very menacing.
Yeah.
So
that's a pretty good rationalization. It's funny because I was just talking to Kat Truewalker last episode about my theories on who's who and what's what and how things are going to go down. And I think some of it was off air, so I'm not going to repeat that. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting possibilities that are coming down the line, and I'm looking forward to seeing just how it slowly unfolds, because that's something that I think Rare has done a great job of. It feels like we're watching, like, I don't know, Mandalorian, where every week we're waiting to see like what's going to happen next, except in this case it's a monthly cadence, so we have time to kind of play the game and stuff and get our commendations and stuff finished. But it's funny, it's kind of like living with a TV show right now. Like we're just kind of waiting for the next bit of lore to drop.
Yeah. Totally like, man, Stitcher Jim, I'm just thinking about, what is he going to turn into? What is that going to look like?
Oh man, yeah, that's a crazy. I hope it's something close to what the what the stewards of Captain Flameheart's body look like when we were doing the Seabound Soul, and they were they were doing the funeral session. Yeah,
and the lead skeleton,
the lead dude
guy.
He was cool.
He's very cool looking. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having a skeleton look like him. That would be pretty awesome. So, but yeah, so we're talking about the past. We should be talking about the future.
Yeah, the 22nd.
The 22nd is what I would say is effectively year 3 anniversary 2 of for Sea of Thieves at this point.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're getting emissaries, and I talked a little bit with Kat and how we're going to have some of the different systems in place. Are you guys having to rely heavily on insiders to kind of get preliminary work done on guides and stuff like that to help people out when this goes live?
Yeah, like we make a kind of a skeleton of what we're going to write based on like insider stuff, and then we go the morning of when it updates, and we go into the game and run through everything. We have like a checklist that we just sprint through and verify everything, and then we publish what we're able to verify.
Yeah.
And then if we're not able to verify something, we like take out that paragraph, or sometimes take out a whole article, and then add it as we're able to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do a lot of sailing in Insider to try to kind of get that skeleton of an idea of what it's going to look like.
It's kind of necessary at this point where because we're getting the monthly cadences, the best way to kind of stay on top of the content is to try and get it as soon as possible. Have you guys looked at because and forgive me for not knowing this because I actually don't know who all the partners are. I probably would if I was partner, but are you guys partnered with Sea of Thieves right now?
No, the creator crew doesn't really like lend itself to our
medium.
Medium yet. So once it does, we love that. It's really just for kind of video stuff right now.
YouTubers
YouTube
and streamers.
So
yeah, that's kind of what I've noticed. Is hence my trying to get a little bit more into the streaming thing, just to try and get a bit more information going into partners and stuff. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring you guys on too, is because I glazed over it earlier, but we've got a lot of new pirates on the seas, and I wanted to bring attention to your guys' website and your application because it's such a good resource for people who, I think, what was it? Joe was talking on the last video where they were talking about the map markers. Was that Joe? Or was that? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the map is going to have the markers for the tall tales, and that's cool because they'll know where it starts. But Rare Thief is a great place to go if you want to know like how to work through it if you get stuck. And a lot of people may not know about Rare Thief if they're coming into the game from an Xbox perspective. From PC, it's a little easier because we tend to, we're used to being like right on a Google tab next to the game or something.
Yeah.
But a lot of pirates who are playing and getting into the update on the 22nd may not know about you guys, and I wanted to try and showcase you, at least from the small audience that I have to try and get word out there so that you guys can hopefully get some more traffic, because the work you do is totally worth it. So kind of getting back to the anniversary update, the 22nd, with the missionaries, or no, not missionaries, emissaries.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking they were like going out and doing stuff. We're technically the missionaries for the emissaries. That makes better sense. So I wanted to kind of find out, like, do you Marquis, do you have like a preference on who you want to sail as when the emissary system comes out?
I think I love sailing as each of them, but like if I were to choose which trading company I would belong to in this world, I feel like it would be the Order of Souls. So I think that's the one I'm most excited about.
Amir, are you good with that, or is there one that you'd want to mess around with for a while?
Yeah, I love the Order of Souls as well. Like, I don't know, their aesthetic, and like they give you the rogue sea dog stuff, right, for hitting level 50. Yeah, I love all their cosmetics, so I think I'm gonna want to roll with them. But I am a little excited to do the Reaper's Bones.
Oh yeah.
We are really a friendly crew, and the people we sail with get frustrated sometimes with, because they're like, we never attack anybody. You guys always want to make friends and get in alliances and stuff like that. So it'll be nice to sail with the Reaper's Bones and feel a little less guilty about all that.
Yeah.
I think as Rare Thief, sometimes we feel like first of all, I mean, we wouldn't be doing what we do if we didn't love helping people. So we love running into players on the sea that need help or are new, and just kind of taking them through what we can. But the other thing is, like, we feel really bad like going up and sinking a ship, and then if they see our gamer tags, I'm like, oh man, I got sunk by a Rare Thief. Like, it's like rude. Like, especially like, I'm following your guide right now and you just sunk me. Like, that's not so yeah, it'll kind of be nice to have an excuse to do PvP and not feel bad about it. Feel like no, it's part of the game. It's sanctioned now. It's okay.
That's great. I would love to have a part of your guys' guide to the Shroud Breaker. Like, congratulations, you just got the Shroud Breaker from the vault. Your ship is gone. It was Rare Thief that sank it. Sorry.
Exactly.
Continue to scroll down to get your mermaid and your ship, and leave the Shroud Breaker here so that people know where it's gonna, or so you know where to leave, or where you had it beforehand. Like, I want that play-by-play somewhere in one of the guides in the future, if that's ever possible. So, but yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel like my crew and I, we're leaning towards Reaper's Bones, and a lot of that's because we typically go out and just sink people. But I think the bigger Reaper's flag for us is going to be like a level 5 Merchant Alliance. And I think that's going to be the tastiest thing to try and draw people in to fight with us, because that's kind of, we always have to go looking for fights when I'm sailing with that particular crew, and it's always kind of rough. But when I'm with like my community, man, we're just I'm just trying to build up friends as much as possible at that point, because I love having those stories about killing each other in a friendly, fun way. Kind of like what you guys did with the first cruise that sailed out when you guys went to Rare.
Yeah.
Just having that kind of fun. Everyone knows that they're in on it, and everyone's just trying to enjoy the game and test it out and play it and stuff. So I think
no hard feelings. No one's like feeling personally attacked.
It feels more like a game of tag, like where everyone's running away from each other, running at each other. You're like.
That's a really good way to put it, actually. That I never thought about it, but yeah, it is kind of like a game of tag when you're with your friends. Like, who killed who first, and how are you going to get them back with what kind of weapon?
Yeah,
that's a really fun game. Dang it, I feel like I want to implement that now. I feel like that I want to make that like a thing in my community. Whoever's it has to kill someone else on another crew to pass the tag, and then. Once you kill them, they're it, and then they have to try it. So just make this game within a game kind of thing. I love that idea.
Feel free.
Thank you. That's awesome. So as we get into emissaries and stuff, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the idea of what do you guys think as far as like this table and the little ships and stuff. How do you feel about them? From what we've been told officially, it looks like ships are going to be represented on the tables when you're part of the emissary. And is that too much information, or is that plenty of information? Like, is that something where you guys feel like that the game is kind of breaking outside of the immersive feel of it, or is it something like that's a little too calculated? Like, now we know who's doing exactly what.
To me, it feels, I don't know, I think it fits right in. It's the way it's like visually implemented is super Sea of Thieves, with like the little wooden boat. Totally. And I feel like if you're supposed to be emissaries for these trading companies, you're trying to, you're working for them. It kind of makes sense that you'd like sign your name somewhere, So from like a game immersion, it doesn't break it for me. Yeah, and from like gameplay, I think it's cool. Like, cause you can see, like there's a bunch of people doing gold hoarders. I feel like doing gold hoarders today. Like maybe I can get an awesome alliance today. Like, I feel like being friends with people, maybe this will be the thing that bridges the gap of awkwardness. Like, are you friendly or not?
I feel like stealing a gold hoarder flag.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you can go check out if the Reapers ones has little boats on there. You could see how many people are flying the Reapers, and you can decide like, oh, this server looks a little too sweaty for me. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hang out over here.
Yeah, definitely. So, speaking of sweaty servers, there's a whole part of the game that is getting revamped currently. That I don't know about you. I'm not a huge fan of Arena. I don't jump into it that often, and I blame a lot of that on Mike for making adventure so interesting. So. For me, Arena's great, but I rarely ever want to jump into it. But they've completely changed the landscape. They've shortened the duration, so instead of 24 minutes, it's now 15 minutes, which I think will probably be better for people. But we're going with no maps, fewer islands. We have a beacon on one chest, and there's one turn-in point. Is this what Arena needs in your guys' minds?
I think. There's definitely a temptation to feel like I'm definitely going to miss on one level the maps, just because, first of all, we play on console. So that is such a huge leg up for us, because I'd like to think we know the islands fairly well, given what we do. Right. So having the X's on the map is kind of a nice leg up for us, especially when we're playing against PC players. But at the same time, first of all, I think Rare has done an amazing job of giving us things we don't know we want until they give them to us. And we're like, oh, I didn't know I wanted this, but I did. So there's that. But then also, I do think that, I don't know, to me, it just feels like I'm being given a whole new game to play. And so I can't like help but be excited about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited for the change. Like, I really love the current play not quite regularly, but whenever we can get our crew together, because we like doing the Galleon Arena, we definitely go and play that. But with the current setup, every once in a while, it's pretty easy for one boat to just kind of get away with the game if they have. Yeah, so I feel like with there being multiple maps and multiple turning points, like right now, one team could get away with the whole game if they just happen to get lucky enough to go to one of the islands that no one else decided to go to. If like 3 boats were all attacking each other and one was just skating by, and that's definitely a strategy. But I'm excited for there to be that to happen less, because I think this new focus, like on the beacon chest, will help level the playing field. And yeah, like Marcus said, it's just gonna be like a whole new experience. And currently, fighting over Reaper's chests, especially when they were first introduced and worth a ton, or I think they're worth more now. I can't remember, but when they were first introduced, everyone was going for them because the balloons were less prevalent. And those are some really fun skirmishes. So it'll be cool to get that on demand in Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I'm curious to jump into this. I think my biggest concerns are having to deal with crews who are less about grabbing the chest and turning it in, and more about taking a chest and hoarding it, or like turtling on an island and just trying to prevent the natural gameplay flow. Or loop, and that's my main concern right now. But again, with everything Rare does, I always want it to have room to breathe and to be played with and tinkered before we kind of pass judgment on it. And that kind of brings me to the one thing that I think is probably more contentious than the barrel system 2.0. Which is rezzing, and we're getting resurrection in the game, which it feels interesting to me that when someone dies on your team or in your alliance, you can go over and resurrect them. And in the videos they've shown that it looks like your ghostly soul is rising up into the air, which for pirates doesn't quite gel with me. I feel like we should instantly be going down based on our deeds. And but I'll kind of live with that. So, but players will have a chance to resurrect you and bring you back. We don't know officially if it's at full health or an eighth or a quarter, or however much health we're getting when it actually happens. But I like this system being implemented because of a way that I don't play, and and part of it's because I want people to be able to play the game. So for me, this looks appealing for console players that have to live with longer load times if they don't have like an SSD drive on their Xbox, or they're on like the original Xbox with the slower processor. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this and hear if you like the idea, if you think the idea is pushing it a little too much. Like, what are your thoughts on it, Amir?
I'm really excited about it. For one, I don't know, like, I feel like, especially since it's a mechanic in like almost every other game, and I know Battle Royale is super popular right now, and I love those moments where you get a clutch revive and save the day. You know, your whole team's down, and it's like you're in the final circle, and you're able to kill that person off and revive your team and save the day. I think that'll be a really cool mechanic to add to Sea of Thieves and Adventure End in Arena. And then also, what Joe mentioned, I think it was, Joe was talking about in the prototype. You know, I was one of the few lucky people that got to play the prototype when I did the Play It First game, and I'm not really allowed to talk about what was all in it that hasn't been released. You know, that was one of the things, and I remember that, and that it's definitely something, you know, that does bring your crew together, and you feel like a valued member. And, you know, it also could be good for some of the players that aren't that good at PvP if they're able to play that, you know, healer or support class, that they could help revive you, especially in Arena. You know, if your team's out there getting owned by some skeleton captains, they can kind of get that clutch revive and help you out.
That's a really good point.
I feel like it's not too OP because I think today, or in that video, the most recent one, he was saying you come back and you only have 25% of your health.
Okay, so it was
4 seconds. And 4 seconds it sounds short, but I feel like that's gonna feel like an eternity to revive someone in 4 seconds. So I feel like that gives another player plenty of time to come kill you as you're trying to revive your teammate and such. So I don't think it's overpowered. I think they did a good job. I mean, time will tell, and I think if it is, you know, we've seen that Rare tweaks things when they do find that something is unbalanced. But I think already they've been really thoughtful with how they're implementing it, and it sounds to me, at least, that it's not going to be really that OP.
And it's also kind of like a tool in the sense of, I mean, of course, to use to get your teammate back up, but you can use it as a trap. If you know that they're gonna really want to get their teammate up, you can go hide in the bush real quick, and as they're reviving, come out and blunderbuss them too, and you got 2 down. So
Yeah, it's a real fair point. You can actually start using it kind of like if you were a raptor in Jurassic Park, and you can start laying little traps for little bodies, like what was that movie? Oh, Oh, I know what it was. It was God, this is going to be a weird deep cut. But did you guys ever see the movie Screamers?
No, I know.
Okay, so that this was a weird movie to begin with, but it was a sci-fi movie that had robots, and there were two warring factions of humans, and there was a planet that was a mining planet, if I recall correctly. That was there were a couple there was like one military outpost on this island, and the opposition had been using kind of like a weird robot, but it was like they had like come up with different types of robots. So one was like a lost little kid that was a bomb, and then there was a warrior one that was like a wounded warrior. So it would call out for help, and it would ask, it would plead with you to try and get you. And then, if you went up to it, it would explode or it would kill you. And you always had it was always this idea of like, you can't be too. You have to be really, really cautious about when you're going into a situation, like what could happen. And you kind of nailed it. And that's why it triggered the memory for me, Amir, was the idea of killing someone to use their ghost as a beacon of like, hey, I need help. But if they're not on comms or they're not communicating or they think you're gone, you could definitely take out another person that way.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of with you guys as far as like 4 seconds. Marky, you made a really strong point. 4 seconds is longer than any gun reload or sword lunge.
Yeah.
It's definitely something where you're gonna have to be protected if you want to get this done and get someone back. So, and that's kind of the thing is I've had a lot of people say, and it's been kind of a general thing, so I don't want to try and name anyone because there's no point to it. It's a general sentiment that this is going to really hurt solo players who like to go on to a galleon and wipe out an entire galleon and sink a galleon solo. And as much as I understand their plight, I have a really hard time sympathizing with someone who can take out 4 players and sink a galleon.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I think if they're able to do that now, man, they're really going to be able to do it if someone's pausing for 4 seconds to pick up their teammate.
Yeah,
it's only going to make it easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is kind of like dropping the anchor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, if they're trying to get the revive off, try to get in there and do something, throw fire bombs, blunderbusses to push them back. I feel like there are so many tools now in our chest, rather than just the blunderbuss and flintlock, whatever you're using to help fend off a successful revive, while you can kill them at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's going to add a little bit of time to being able to knock out like an entire crew. But I'm right there with you. I see the tools. I see the ability to adapt to the situation. And while it may not be as easy as it once was, that's just going to help benefit the less experienced who might be able to get off a revive, which is a clutch enough save to be able to fend off a duo sloop who's really experienced and really good at killing. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else I was thinking about with this update. There's so much coming out with this update. I did want to bring up, so cats are coming out, and I'm really excited for I'm buying all the cats regardless. I don't care what they look like. They're all little fur babies. I'm going to be the crazy cat lady who has all the cats. And if I could have them all out if I could have every single cat out at once, I totally would. I would be that weird chip. But you guys have a puppy. Are you guys hoping that with cats coming to the game that eventually we'll get puppies?
Oh, of course.
I think we'll always hope for it. Yeah, we'll always hope for it. And even though I'm not really a cat person, I definitely want to get a cat Sea of Thieves, because I feel like cats are very piratey for some reason. I don't know why, but as well as dogs are. But I think cats go right in there.
Well, also I just won't have allergies.
Yeah.
To them. I won't be allergic to these cats. So.
That does help out a lot with liking them. And to Amir, to your comment, the reason why they probably feel so piratey is because you can never trust them. You never know what they're thinking, and they're always trying to get whatever you have. But maybe that's just my cats. I don't know. So
your cat definitely sounds like a pirate.
They are. They're little beasts, but I love them. But okay, so I feel like that kind of rounds out. Was there anything in the update that you guys are super excited for that we haven't already talked about? Because I want to make sure you guys, I want to know what you guys are interested for.
I mean, yeah, I think we got the new trading company, the emissaries, cats, arena,
Well, just
reviving.
every little tidbit of lore that gets dribbled out in each update. I think that's always what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Duke has to say after what's gone down.
Yeah, my first thing I always want to do anytime something's been updated is run up to the NPCs and find out what their new dialogue is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll be interested to find out if Duke finally starts to show his true colors, the Dark Lord that he is. We'll see. So I was actually thinking about it while you were bringing it up. What do you guys think about Reaper's Hideout being the home for the new trade company? As we have representatives all over the sea posts or sea outposts for each of the different factions. The Reapers are kind of insulated in this instance. I thought it was going to be a fort, but what did you guys think about one central location for each trade company?
I think I don't know. It kind of fits with the lore. I feel like there's such an anti not anti trading company, but they're just so different oriented. You know, like they're definitely they want it all. They don't really care about the pirate code, so it kind of makes sense they wouldn't be welcomed on the outpost.
Well, and they're protecting their secrets. So like I don't know. I can't see them really like posting a representative on like too formal, you know, like for them, and too dispersed. You know, I feel like they want to keep everything tight and connected and fortified. You know, like while it might not be becoming an active skeleton fort, it still is a fortress. And the, you know, like just like the skeleton forts, it has, you know, those spears coming out of the sand to protect it. It has that central location.
There was cannons on it.
Yeah, there's cannon. So there's just, it is trying to fend off something, trying to protect itself in some way. So to me, it makes sense. Yeah, that they're trying to stay insular and protected, and yeah.
So it's kind of interesting in my mind that you bring that up because with the Reapers, they are kind of each to their own kind of pirates for all eternity. And we see something like that with the different skull forts that we have especially with, for example, Fort of the Damned. And I'm wondering if we'll ever have an island to itself that is wholly representative of a new faction that would be for just skeletons. Like if there was a faction of skeletons that broke away from the Gold Hoarder and or Flameheart and wanted to be like some sort of historian lore based group, like they've retained their knowledge and they're trapped in this form. I kind of think of like undead in World of Warcraft, where they're forsaken, but they're not necessarily evil. They're just have their own intentions. And similarly with mermaids too, I'm wondering if there's ever going to be an area where we'll have a specific zone, kind of like Mermaid's Hideaway, kind of like some of the Uncharted Islands, where you're going to have to try and go both underwater and above water to speak with mermaids. And if you think that, do you think Rare might go that route, or do you think they've got like other plans for like merfolk and stuff?
They keep saying they're gonna, you know, like people ask all the time, when's the map? When's it like? And they keep saying they're thinking about going down instead of out. So
Well, and they've talked about, you know, bringing more of the lore from the novel into the game, and like eventually, I don't know when, but I mean, like just in general, it's all canon and it all could come in.
And there's a lot about mermaids in the Venus Fortune.
Well, and I really want to, I don't know, find the places that like where, you know, Mercia found the earrings and like where she and Ramsey went down and everything. And I don't know, just different places like that, or, you know, where they had the, you know, mermaids locked up, you know, when the two were kidnapped and they went to rescue them. Like, I want to see that like so desperately. So, yeah.
Were you guys surprised when you saw the magpie's wing in game when they started to actually represent that?
Yeah, I have loved so much seeing anything from the lore in the books come to life.
Mhm.
That for me has been the most fun thing. It breathed whole new life into the game, and it still does. Anytime they add something from the books into it, just I can't. I get butterflies. Like I get so excited. So I'm really waiting to find a fully fleshed out version of Shan's workshop on Thieves Haven.
Yeah.
That would make my life.
Oh
Like-
man. So there's a little nook behind the galleon that's being crafted on Thieves Haven that
Mhm.
doesn't lead to anything. It's just this little. It's like a weird placement of the rocks and stuff. I'm one of these days I want to be able to go over there after an update and just find like a little lever. And
Mhm.
find out that that's where Shane's little workshop is, and that's where he was working on all of the little trinkets and stuff, and the music box and stuff that we've gotten into the game. Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what little nook you're talking about. I know exactly where it is.
Mhm.
Oh man, yeah. This game, I gotta say, has been one of my biggest joys. Just over the last few years, just finding out about it, getting to play it, creating a community around it, and then finding folks like you who are just as passionate about it as well too. So I wanted to give you guys the floor. Is there anything you guys wanted to say to Rare or to the community? Anything you want to promote as far as Rare Thief or your app? Like where can they find this stuff?
Something for being such a long time Rare fan is, every game that I've been this passionate about that's been a Rare game, at least when the internet was around, had a forum, and the communities there were so awesome, but none of them have had anything like Sea of Thieves. Like the Sea of Thieves community is definitely something else. And I think because the game just attracts so many different kinds of people, adventure lovers, pirate lovers, Xbox gamers, Rare fans, there's just so many different kinds of people. So you get to see so much different talent and ideas. It's been like nothing else. And it's just really cool, that Rare develops a game that was so unique, but yet could grab such a wide audience. So it's just been really fun being a part of this community in particular. It's been like nothing else I've ever experienced for any other game that I've been a part of the community for.
Well said, definitely.
Yeah, I think that was beautifully said. I think there's something about the magic in the game that inspires creativity. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing so much talent and so many just beautiful creations and ways to participate, and even like things like people wanting private servers to create, the games within the game, and like that just
yeah,
it's just mind-blowing and so fun to just be any small part of it.
So you guys have been making guides. You guys have been making the map over at rarethief.com for forever. If people don't know, there's also a mobile app that you can download. And this is available on iPhone and Android, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. And I'll see if I can grab links to it. But most importantly, people just need to go and head over to rarethief.com, bookmark it. Put it on your browser, put it on your phone, whatever you need to do, because anytime you have a question and you're not sure where this riddle is or what this thing means, or even just like what the names of the islands are, if you're just not sure, this is where you should be going to get this kind of information. And I can't thank you guys enough for constantly putting out content to help us when we need this information. And just a quick little thing. I don't know if many people know about this, but you guys actually have some really, really cool beta stuff on there that was like not talked about. Like I loved digging through the perfect dark horror, or the Conquer's
12 Tales. Yeah.
Yes, the 12 Tales. And you guys even had the GoldenEye bit in there too. That was it's not the 25th anniversary guy, but this was the Xbox Live Arcade Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, and I remember watching that and just thinking like, God, this is so cool. But you've been huge Rare fans. What's going to happen when Everwild comes out?
Ooh.
Hopefully, we are hoping to cover both equally. Like as much passion and fun we're having with Sea of Thieves on Rare Thief, we want to do the same exact thing with Everwild. We can't wait. Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
I'm so excited.
Definitely, hopefully, will be a helpful source for that community as well.
Awesome. Yeah, there's the community has already jumped onto the Discord and shared their passion. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. The Discord's been awesome. The Reddit's been picking up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
People had the trailer. People are just speculating away, and there's been a big group that's been naming all the animals so each one has community created name. It's just been really fun. Yeah, it's really fun being at the start of a community like that. So yeah, if you haven't yet and you're interested in Everwild, I would definitely head over to the Discord because there's lots of passionate people over there.
And all of them, I would say a large majority of them are old fans of Sea of Thieves as well, too. Players in the game that are constantly trying to support Rare as much as we can. So I can't echo that enough, but I just wanted to thank you guys again. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. Thank you so much for joining me. It was an absolute blast, and I can't say thank you enough. But
thank you for inviting me. It was an honor. I can't believe.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You've been listening to it, and you're one of the voices we can count on every time you put out a new episode to keep everyone informed in a fun way. We've been loving the interviews. So yeah, thank you so much for having us on. We're honored.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my pleasure. All right, pirates, that's going to do it for this episode of Keelhauled. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to let me know over at Twitter at CAPT_LOGUN, or you can always email me at CAPTLOGUN@gmail.com. Or if you want to come let me know in the Discord, there's always links in the show notes that you can go to find out where I'm usually hanging out and chatting with the rest of the Keelhauled community. And pirates, with that, if I missed anything or if there's something that you wanted me to talk about, feel free to let me know as well. I'm really curious to find out what your thoughts are on Resurrection as well as the emissaries. What are you going for? How many cats are you buying? And are you ready for the update on April 22nd? So pirates, that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, thank you so much. I love you and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
If you hear someone panting into the mic, I swear that's not Falcon or I.